All right, Shalom. First foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth, that rule well and teach well. All right, Shalom to the brothers and sisters, the Akim and Akwaf scattered around the four corners of the planet Earth. All right, and I'll entitle this lesson Commandments Embedded Throughout the Scriptures. All right, commandments embedded throughout the scriptures. And the inspiration of this lesson was essentially from another lesson that I had watched this morning on the way to work. All right. And the video was one of the elders did, all right, down here in GMS Dallas, Elder Arianaza. And he was going into basically Bishop Nate, all right, the IUIC and their deceitful, spirit, basically, their deceitful practice of, basically making the law, statutes, and commandments, the main priority. All right, making the law, statutes, and commandments the main, focal point of their ministry. All right, in a way, almost idolizing, the law, statutes, and commandments. If that's, if that's possible. But really, to idolizing anything is possible. Because to idolize something, basically just means to esteem it, higher than, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, to esteem something or to accredit something other than, the Most High and His only begotten Son. All right, and that's what they do with the Torah. All right, what's known as the five books of Moses. All right, but specifically the laws, man, the law, statutes, and commandments that are contained within it. Now, as we always have to, preface, so to speak, we understand the importance of the law. We understand the necessity of the law, and we love the law. Okay, the law is like, it's like the equivalent, to an American of basically the Constitution. It is a fixture, in our nation, and it's going to go forth in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, pursuant to Isaiah the 2nd chapter. The law is going to go forth from Zion, and the law is going to be inserted into our inward parts. Okay, pursuing to Jeremiah 31 and 31. All right. So the debate, the disagreement is not about the laws really, because again, we understand the importance of the law. All right, we're not disputing that. All right, but in terms of order of importance, okay, we understand that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, faith, mercy, all right, those things are higher in the order of importance, and Yahushai even back that up. So we'll start there. All right, since I mentioned it, this is Matthew chapter 23 and verse 23. Okay, and it says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites," right? Because it's really a hypocritical approach to put the law, statutes, and commandments at the forefront of your ministry. It's a hypocritical approach because we are not sovereign and we cannot keep the laws, right? We can't keep the laws, not perfectly, which is what's necessary. All right. And even if we could keep the laws perfectly, that wouldn't make us righteous. Okay. It wouldn't make us righteous. All right. So let me read this again. This is Matthew 23 and 23. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin and have omitted the weightier matters of the law." Okay. So there are weightier matters of the law. Okay. Going back to the order of importance, there are things that have to be recognized and addressed first in order for the law to really even, do its job. All right, and now I want to click on this word weightier. All right, I'm gonna click on this word weightier real quick. And that word in the Greek is baris, and it says grievous, heavy, okay, severe. All right, so the more severe aspects of the law, okay, weighty, grave, heavy. All right, so again, there are things that are more heavy, that are more important to consider, all right, than just, keeping the carnal commandment, right? Because again, you can be keeping the commandments, but you can be going way the hell off through the spirit. All right, that's why the apostle Paul touched on that in Romans the 7th chapter and the 14th verse. Okay, let me just pull it real quick, because the apostle Paul understood the law. The apostle Paul was the guy to go to. Okay, he understood that he was a Hebrew of the Hebrews, man. He knew what he was talking about concerning the law, you know, and he had this to say about it. This is Romans 7 and 14. It says, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin." All right, so the law, there's a spiritual aspect of the law that has to be addressed, and that's what Yahweh Shai addressed. That's what Yahweh Shai Shai, brought to light, brought to the forefront, and that's what's conveyed through the gospel. That's what we hold on to. All right. We wish we could keep the law, statutes, and commandments perfectly, but we can't. All right. But what we can do is we can walk in the spirit. We can apply faith. All right. We can apply mercy, charity. We can apply these spiritual things. And that's what Yahweh Shem Shai is looking for on this side. That's what he's looking for. All right. I forget what that scripture is when the Lord talks about, shall he find faith on the earth? So that's what the Lord is looking for. He's not looking for, you to be, boasting in the law, boasting in the fact that you can keep X, Y, and Z commandment. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing, that you're keeping them. But at the end of the day, all right, we're rehearsing the righteous acts, and the Lord is looking for faith. All right. So let me go to this definition of embedded, right? Because it says that the title of the lesson was commandments embedded through the scriptures, embedded throughout the scriptures. And I just wanted to get a few precepts, highlighting kind of what I'm talking about, because they always talk about the importance of the law. Okay. And as we said, the law is important. But what about the other commandments, all right, that were given through the spirit, all right, by prophets, in the Psalms, all right, in the New Testament and the epistles? There were commandments that were given through the spirit. Now they weren't the same commandments that were, given by Moses, right, on Mount Sinai, but they are just as significant. They are just as relevant, okay, and important, man. Case in point, the obvious example of Revelation, the 13th chapter, the MOTB, all right, the micro C hip, all right, which is an implantable physical, okay, device that they're going to push on the world scale, that they're going to use, all right, to basically bring everybody into the new world system that they're about to bring out. All right, it's a commandment not to take that. All right, that's not a suggestion. That's not some cool, some nice advice. That is a commandment from Yahweh Shem Shai not to take that. All right, and those that do take that are going to pay the price, and that's laid out in the next chapter in Revelation, the 14th chapter. All right, but a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that since I quoted it. All right, let's get that. Okay, because when the Lord is speaking through the prophets, all right, case in point, when the Lord revealed this vision to John the Revelator, all right, and laid out, what was going to come and, how to move in these times and what was going to happen if you took it. Again, that's a commandment, man. That's not a suggestion. All right, and we know that because judgment is gonna come down upon those who disobey this commandment. Okay, but let's prove that. This is Revelation chapter 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 6. And it says, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth." All right, and the angel is a messenger. Okay, and the everlasting gospel is the 100% truth. It's the doctrine that's being pushed, all right, from the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. All right, that's the everlasting gospel, the 100% truth, the correct understanding about the mark. All right, that corrects understanding. All right, you know, all the way around. All right, let's keep going. Revelation 14:7. It says, saying with a loud voice, fear Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Fear is a commandment, man. Fearing the Most High, fearing Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is not a suggestion. All right, that right there is embedded within the scriptures. You know, and a matter of fact, I never got the definition of embedded. Let me get that real quick. The definition of embedded, all right, it says enclosed or fixed firmly in a surrounding mass, surrounded on all sides. Okay, it says inserted as an integral part of a surrounding whole. Okay, so let me read that again. It says inserted as an integral part of a surrounding whole. All right, when you get that word integral, it says necessary to make a whole complete. All right, because think about it this way. All right, yes, we have the law, statutes, and commandments in the form of the Torah. All right, the old covenant, we have those, but that doesn't how are we supposed to move, all right, in the midst of Jacob's trouble? How are we supposed to move in the midst of persecution? How are we supposed to deal with brothers? All right, how are we supposed to go about, you know, pushing out this word and conducting ourselves within the body? Those things are commanded, okay, through the prophets of the Lord. All right, and Yahushua, his disciples, the apostle Paul, all right, the pushers of the word, you know, during that time, they were prophets. All right, and the messages that they were conveying, all right, were through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, and it takes faith and discernment to determine that a lot of the things that they were saying, you know, that was the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That was a commandment. All right, you know, and that's why the apostle Paul, you know, when you read his epistles, you know, he would say things, you know, like, you know, he would or I'll say this, he would acknowledge when he was just giving advice, you know, as a man, you know, but he didn't do that. He did that a few times. The apostle Paul knew when he was he knew when the things that he was saying were not of him. You know, the prophet Jeremiah talks about that, you know, as well. All right. But it takes a spiritual mind to understand that, you know, it takes a spiritual mind to get that. All right. So let me keep going real quick. This is Revelation 14 and verse 7. It says, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him. For the judgment of his earth, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and sea and the fountains of water. All right. And those things mentioned in this verse are not suggestions. The scriptures tell you that every knee shall bow. All right. The scriptures talk about a rod of iron. All right. So again, man, and that really is a worldly spirit, man. That's a Western civilization. That's a worldly rebellious spirit, you know, to be honest. You know, because the scriptures are plain upon tables. The Lord has made it clear throughout his scriptures, you know, what he wants and what he doesn't want. He didn't complicate it. Okay, the scriptures talk about the simplicity that's in, you know, Hamashiach. But what it is niggas are just rebellious. All right, niggas is just rebellious and they want to act like, you know, well, I won't even say they want to act like, because the leaders, these other camps, these other guys teaching these wayward doctrines, they know they know what they doing, man. They know they going to hell off. They just being wicked. You know, but a lot of their followers, a lot of 2/3, all right, they just want to be willingly ignorant, you know, but they still want to be a part of the Israelite thing. They still want to be, you know, in the Israelite thing, but they don't actually want to address and you know, they don't actually want to you know, recognize the totality of the message, the totality of the doctrine. Okay, so let's get another example. This is Micah 2:10. It says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. All right, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sure destruction. Okay, and this is a scripture we quantify to go into, you know, unplugging from the matrix, you know, disconnecting from Babylon the Great. And disconnecting from Babylon the Great is not a suggestion. That's a commandment, right? Because ultimately prophecy is going to force you to do that anyway. Prophecy is going to force you to do that anyway, especially if you, are striving, for the masteries, especially if you are, of the hopeful elect and you trying to endure to the end. Disconnecting from this place is a commandment. It is mandatory. All right. But especially when, Esau rolls out the MOTB. Okay. So that's another example, but there's a multitude of examples, of commandments embedded throughout scriptures. I just wanted to touch on that point real quick. Lord's willing, this was edifying with that. I want to say